Hello again and welcome to DanWhiteBooks, the book review channel where we add insight into the worlds of literature for both those who do read and those who don't. Today's book review is of a classic piece of Japanese fiction, a book they say a whole generation of Japanese people read, and that is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is now the third book I've read from popular Japanese author Murakami. To say I have a love-hate relationship with this writer's work may be too weak a phrase. Well, I don't hate his work, not at all, but certain elements of his writing style annoy me just as much as they intrigue me. It is a fine balance and it does keep me coming back for more. But did this book leave me satisfied or bewildered? Norwegian Wood tells the tale of a young student called Toru Watanabe and centres around his early life and that of the personal and deep-felt relationships he was involved with at the time. Some may say this is a love story, and although it does certainly speak of love, I feel that is not the main focus of this work. If you're familiar with Murakami, and most are, he likes to add a layer of fantasy and mystique to his work. However, in this particular tale, such elements are removed. Instead, you have a story leaning more true to that of life and the real world, as Watanabe struggles with adolescence and the complicated feelings he faces in terms of loss and in new beginnings. If you have never read a Murakami book before, this may give you a skewed perception of his style, because unlike other works I've read, this book feels far more down to earth. It is a tale that is mostly believable and no doubt has sections one can relate to, particularly readers in early adulthood. Watanabe struggles with life around him, attending college and wondering about the deeper questions of what he really wants to do with his life. His present reality feels stale and he sees reason in a girl called Naoko. Watanabe is linked to this girl through a bond of trauma, as her boyfriend Kizuki, who was also Watanabe's close friend, committed suicide one night without warning, leaving both out of place in the world and feeling deeply alone. Naoko is a complex girl who suffers mental anguish when faced with the waking world and is often highly susceptible to depression. Together, she and Watanabe hang out and don't so much live life as just be. Naoko is eventually taken to a special retreat centre to get better, and it is at this point that Watanabe meets a girl quite the opposite of Naoko called Midori. Watanabe finds himself getting close to this girl throughout the novel. She has a certain energy the main character is lacking, and in their indifference they bond and become friends. Midori comes quite randomly into the life of Watanabe and offers a fresh perspective on his mundaneness of life. Despite her own dramatic past with the loss of her mother and the hardship she feels in the face of her father's illness, she is upbeat and presses forward in spite of her pain. This is quite a hard book to sum up, and I shan't go any further because no few lines are going to do it justice. It centres around the themes of finding yourself in a world so new and alien. Naoko and Watanabe struggle to fit in with society and stand out for their indifference to the future and their dissatisfaction with the present. They are in love, but not in a way a romance novel may have you believe. This love is complicated and by no means straightforward. It is true to real love in the sense that it's not always floating among angelic clouds. This book talks a lot of pain and loss, particularly with a focus on a disconnect from reality. Through Naoko, you see how difficult life can be when you feel as if you're never truly there, and through Watanabe you get a sense of being lost in a world you do understand but just don't fit in with, as if you are simply playing a part to save face. In terms of the exploration of these themes, this book does very well. But, and here is the but that comes in most of my reviews of Murakami books, I didn't like how this work progressed, and I really didn't like the ending. It annoyed me. It felt unnecessary and a kick in the teeth of the girl our central character was meant to be so in love with. I get the shared trauma. What I don't understand is the lack of restraint. Something else that annoyed me in this book, and this may just be a sign of the times, this book I believe came out in 1980 or in the 80s. In this book, Midori just doesn't seem very understanding of Watanabe and leaves him in the cold despite him obviously going through depression and dissociation. She makes it about her, and this was rather annoying. Watanabe himself also says some dubious things, particularly about his strong desire over women in his bed and on that of controlling himself. I won't lie, this book has a lot of sex and a lot more of other adult themes. Murakami can pull off this interconnected and deeper style of writing, but to me it wasn't without my notice of certain flaws. I loved this book for the first half, I really did, but slowly I lost that love as it progressed. The ending really did put the nail in the coffin, and I felt the final sequence was not necessary. For those who have read this, I'm referring to his late night encounter with Reiku. It did not at all resonate with me. Here we have a book from a very talented author, no doubt, and it certainly brings attention to the hopelessness a person can face, particularly of that in early adulthood. It explores very well the complicated relationships from such a period, but when it comes together, it all feels a bit too much of this, a bit too little of that. There is strong empathy in the talk of mental illness and the isolation we can all face in this waking world, but in certain sections it goes beyond what I felt was realistic, and this I can't ignore. This book is a lot like Kafka on the Shore for me, in the sense that it left me frustrated and annoyed when I'd finished the final page. Much like that book, I far enjoyed the journey as opposed to the destination. So, with all things considered, Norwegian Wood scores from me a 67 out of 100. I am certain some people will enjoy this book far more than me. I can already see that many have. They will connect to the ending more so than myself, but from my own personal experience, I could not relate to it. It simply didn't resonate with me. But I am sure, thinking now, I will be back for more. I have these conflicts with Murakami, but I must go back for more. I'm not done with Murakami yet, and I will certainly be picking up more of his books to read and get confused about. My friends, thank you very much for watching another book review here. I am reading a book next week if you'd like to read along with me, a book I haven't actually brought with me. It is by Kazuo Ishiguro, and I'm going to put the name here because the name seems to have escaped me. I'm not going to try and remember it right now. So that's going to be there. If you'd like to know more information, indeed, about the book I've just reviewed, Norwegian Wood, and the book I am to read, I do have a name in my head. I'm not going to say it in case it's wrong. That's going to be down in the video description, and you'll be able to find out a bit more information about those books. I thank you again for watching this book review. What were your thoughts on this book? Did you like it? A lot of people love Murakami, and I can see why. His writing style is so unique and it's so immersive, and maybe that's why I get annoyed when I'm taken out of that all that immersion, because it kind of breaks my heart a little bit, because I really love the start of the book, and then with this one I did like the initial progression, but it just went down, and then at the end I was very disappointed, and as I said, it just did not resonate with me. My friends, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you very much for watching this book review. I hope very much to see you here again soon. Please comment on your views on this book. Please subscribe below, and I will see you again soon for another book review and discussion. Thank you and goodbye.